Howdy, y'all. Well, take a look. Peter's back in his tank. Amigo is over here, as well as Ham. That means I'm back home. So, welcome back to the Quad Life. Well, my trip last week was fun. Camp was quite fun when you actually have people that are generally glad to see you and come up and Joel and then come up for a hug. I think Mom said she thought I was hugged more on that one day than I have been the last several years. So it's always nice coming home, I guess, to friends that you haven't seen in a long time and probably won't get to see again, actually. So I know that campers and myself have a lot of health problems and never know how long God's going to give us, but we're glad for the time that we had together. But I'm definitely glad now to be home and glad to have my regular video people with me. Having different camera operators was interesting while I was gone, as you saw in my last video of how it turned out, of different than normal, but hey, it worked. But at the very last part of that video, I said, we never know what we're going to get or what we're going to expect. And that was definitely true, just probably about 6 hours after I did that video. So on Wednesday and Thursday night, June be 18 and 19, we stayed at a hotel in a town of Dry Ridge, Kentucky, which was pretty well right between the Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter. Wednesday night, didn't really notice much. Anything out of the ordinary anyway. But Thursday night, just my parents and I were in a hotel while my night nurse or caregiver was getting a couple hours sleep. And it was on the opposite end of the room. But it felt like the air conditioning was blowing like right up my nose almost. And not long after that, my lungs started to feel sore and stiff. Then they got a lot more congested and I started to need to be suctioned quite a bit. Now, if you're not familiar with it, suctioning is a procedure where we put a little tube or catheter down into my lungs, and it's basically connected to a vacuum that we then suck the junk out of my lungs. So I have a trach button that I use for backup if I need to go on a vent again, but it's also what we use for suctioning. Normally I get suctioned maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Well, that first night especially, I think we suctioned like 7 or 8 times just in that one night. And I also have full feeling of my lungs, so I can tell where junk is at in them. So I had a nurse that he was turning me a lot from side to side, that trying to keep my lungs draining so that the junk didn't settle and we could actually get it up. But on Friday then, the 20th, it was a long 10-hour drive home. Thankfully my lungs straightened out a little bit, and later on my night helper said that he was having trouble too, so we kind of suspect that the air conditioning may have had a little bit of mold or something in it. We haven't tested or anything of that sort, but that's just our guess. But then over the weekend, I kept needing sectioned a lot and getting flipped around. I ended up going to the ER to get checked out, and they didn't really come up with anything definite, but did put me on antibiotic just in case. But I didn't have any collapsed lungs or anything of that sort. But through the next several days, kept having to suction a lot more than usual. But when you suction, that means you go through supplies. And before I went on vacation, I had like 60-some catheters for suctioning, which normally is okay for more than a month. But going through 10 or more a day, that obviously goes through them really quick. So I ordered more catheters and gloves on Monday, the 23rd of June, it would have been, and was told I'd get everything the next day. Well, on Tuesday, I did get a box, but it didn't contain anything that I ordered. No, that was late in the day, so I called again on Wednesday and said, okay, this is the case. I did not get what I ordered, and I need it badly. So, oh yeah, you'll get it at least by Friday. So, well, Thursday I got a box, and once again, it did not contain anything I ordered. So this time I was leaving for a doctor's appointment, and my parents called while I was gone, and ended up getting a hold of a supervisor, and it's like, you know what? I gotta have this stuff, otherwise I'm gonna be drowning almost in my own stuff. Because I knew we were getting low on supplies, and I had several times I tried to cough up the junk in my lungs and clear it on my own, which I can sometimes do, but it almost drowns me too. Well, Friday we finally got what I ordered, but only a very small amount of the catheters I needed. So that was the case of getting back. Now, as of this recording, it has been about a week and a half, and I'm doing a lot better and getting more energy and able to eat, but I'm definitely not back to normal. My lungs are still rather gooky, and I'm living a lot on Mucinex and that kind of thing to try to help. So this has been 6 years since I went on a trip anywhere, and I was told several times that this is the last trip I will be taking in my life. That it's going to be too much work for my parents. And up till the last day, I thought everything was going well, but I think just with being flat so much in hotel beds and being in cold hotel rooms, as my parents like rooms colder than I do, and then something with the air, it just overdid me. So I agree it's probably the last time I'm going to take a trip anywhere, at least for overnight, but never know what God will bring us. But if you watch this the day it comes out, it should be Independence Day here in the U.S. And if you're at this point and are still listening to me, I'm wishing you a happy 4th of July and thankful for independence that we have in the U.S. That we can freely travel and still get things we need for medical supplies and all that as well. But that's it for this time on the Quad Life, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.